Why is it appropriate for the research to use qualitative study? For this study, qualitative study is more suitable because qualitative research methodology enables researchers to explore social and behavioral issues related to the public health that are not achievable with the quantitative methods. This study is also related to the students' own experience and perceptions. It is easier to know their problems, what they encounter personally, and any possible new findings about the study. From the study results, we can see that the study provides a deeper insight into the perceptions, feelings, opinions, and experiences of nursing students during the COVID-19 pandemic. This helps the researcher to find possible problems and solutions from it. Next, complex public health issues can be better understood by exploration using qualitative methodologies. It is easier to manage and describe a more complicated and random answer from the respondents since they all might have different responses. This helps the researcher to find a better understanding about the respondent's situation. Therefore, qualitative study is more relevant for this study. How the principle of qualitative study is applied in the research? The principle used in this study is an inductive approach. In inductive, the new set of knowledge, meanings, or theories are imagined through the process of induction. The approach does not require this testing of a particular extant theory or set of knowledge. Rather, it aims to produce new ones. The primary purpose of the inductive approach is to allow research findings to emerge from the frequent, dominant, or significant themes inherent in raw data without the restraints imposed by structured methodologies. In this study, the aim is to explore how students perceive the COVID-19 crisis and what their personal experiences were while studying during the global pandemic. The data saturation was achieved after analyzing the reports of 33 undergraduate nursing students using the inductive thematic saturation method. The data were collected and analyzed by the researcher to develop a theory. The concluded theory in this article includes the fear of infection and worries about their family well-being. The findings also concluded that a few students have a difficulty in concentrating and learning during the pandemic. How the article used qualitative study method in this study? The qualitative approach used by this study is phenomenology study to examine students' experience through the descriptions that are provided by them. The students are asked to describe their experiences as they perceive them. Small sample size is used, which is 33 bachelor nursing students from the Faculty of Dental Medicine and Health in Osijek, Croatia. The acceptable range of sample size that can be used in qualitative study is between 15 to 50 respondents only. The sample size was collected by using purposive sampling. The data was collected by using a qualitative survey in an online form that was sent via an email, including the details of the study, additional guidelines, and 2 major research questions. The questions are open-ended and flexible written questions to provide freedom of writing to the students, and there is no limit of time and amount of text. The data were analyzed by using conventional content analysis, which is a subjective interpretation of text data. This method provides a deeper understanding of human perceptions and experiences. Some ethical considerations in this study are that the participation was voluntary and anonymity of participants was guaranteed. Other than that, the researcher had taken some precaution to carry out this study in which the participants were provided with an encrypted code where only the researcher can access the research data. Why is it appropriate for the research to use qualitative study? For this study, the researchers use qualitative study because they want to explore the experience of fatigue in cancer patients and to describe its categories and dimensions. Definitely, this cannot be obtained by quantitative study because experience cannot be described by quantitative data since they are not discrete or continuous. In addition, each participant has their own words to describe the experience of fatigue since they have different point of view. Next, qualitative study is more flexible since the researchers can use unstructured interviews on the participants. This helps the researcher to know in depth about the participants' experiences because it enables them to ask the participant any questions when clarification or more information is needed. Therefore, qualitative study is more suitable for this study. How the principle of qualitative study is applied in the research? The principle used for this article is inductive principle. Inductive principle is when the researcher goes from specific to general or from the data collection to the theory. In this article, 15 cancer patients were interviewed for the purpose of data collection on the experience of fatigue in cancer patients and to describe the categories and dimension of the symptoms. Once the data have been substantial, the researcher will then analyze the collected data to look for the pattern and then develop a theory. The concluded theory for this article is that there are three major categories of fatigue, which are experiences, consequences, and action. Plus, the findings also conclude that fatigue is a multidimensional symptom. How the article used this qualitative study method in the study? In this study, the qualitative approach used is the grounded theory. This method involves construction of hypotheses and theories through the collecting and analysis of data. The aim of grounded theory is to generate theory rather than to test hypotheses. Small sample is used in this study, which is 15 cancer patients. In choosing the patient or the respondent, open sampling is used at first and then followed by theoretical sampling, which is more strategic. Theoretical sampling is used in order to get the respondents from different ages and different medical diagnoses. To collect the data, the interview session is carried out. The patients are free to describe their thoughts and actions in their own words. The interview started with an open question, which is the meaning of fatigue to them, and the following flows are unstructured. The session then ends with the respondents describing fatigue in one word. All the interviews were tape recorded. The interview length varies from 20 to 30 minutes, and the period of data collection is about 1 year. For data analysis, the interviews were analyzed according to a method influenced by the constant comparative method. In the initial analysis, line-by-line analysis of transcript was used. In addition, substantive codes that related to the content of data were written in margin, and recurrent words or sentences were underlined, which is known as open coding. Significant passages were extracted, and each excerpt was read several times, placed and replaced until the final dimension could be determined. The dimensions were grouped until explicit categories appeared, which is known as axial coding. Last step analysis, relationship between dimensions was sought until a concept of fatigue was derived.